he told me, listen, I have the online store and I have a Facebook community, and I keep trying to get the Facebook fans out of Facebook to my store. And maybe we could just do the opposite and bring the products of the store into Facebook. And this was actually the initial idea behind StoreYa.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Let's meet an unconventional startup. Meet Yariv Dror, co-founder and CEO of StoreYa. He has been the CEO of StoreYa.com for the past 10 years, a profitable startup that automated performance-based advertising on behalf of e-commerce SMBs and is serving 400,000 merchants from 186 countries. Yariv shifted his career 15 years ago from a law internship for Judge Esther Ayut to an online advertiser for 888.com and for Minovus.com. Yariv Dror, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you for joining me from the StoreYa offices. How are you?
Thank you, Michael. I'm very good, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Software is eating the world. Everything is moving online. Everything is digital. Marketing and advertising turned from television, radio, and billboards to the online sphere. And that is exactly where you came in 10 years ago as co-founder and CEO of StoreYa. And today you've been working with more than 400,000 sellers to help them advertise better, really becoming an expert in online ads, whether it be Google, Facebook, whatever it may be. And so I'm really looking forward to understanding, your perspective into the market, hear the story of StoreYa, and that's enough for me. Yariv, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and the founding story of StoreYa.
Sure. So I'm 44, married to a clinical psychologist,
Interesting.
father of 3 kids. Yeah. I was a captain in the IDF, but in the artillery forces, not the 8200. I initially studied to be a lawyer, and I was an intern for the Israeli president of the Supreme Court. But my actual school was 888.com, where I learned how to do performance advertising and made a lot of money for that company. That was about 15 years ago. And ever since, this is my profession. I'm an online advertising person, and I joined another profitable startup after 888, Minovus.com. It was founded by ex-888 employees. In that startup, I founded the marketing department. And in the past 9 years, I'm the co-founder and CEO of StoreYa.
Beautiful. Okay, so Yariv, paint me first of all the landscape. 10 years ago, you're founding StoreYa. What is online advertising, and why create a company in that space?
So the idea and the vision were actually of my partner and brother, Yariv, who has the soul of an entrepreneur. And he was actually an online retailer, and he came with the idea because he had an online store, and he told me, listen, I have the online store and I have a Facebook community, and I keep trying to get the Facebook fans out of Facebook to my store. And maybe we could just do the opposite and bring the products of the store into Facebook. And this was actually the initial idea behind StoreYa, because we figured out that if he needs that and there is no solution for it, we can actually automate it on behalf of all the SMBs out there. And this is what we do. Like we were joined by our CTO, Pasha Zaft, and he actually taught the computer to extract the feed of products from any e-commerce store and generate a new store inside the Facebook arena. And that was the first product that we developed 10 years ago. And 15 products later, we are focused on more stuff. I'll be happy to elaborate on that.
We're going to get there very soon, but first I want to uncover a little bit about the process that you underwent to find product market fit and find the right way to work with these SMBs, because you have two challenges here, right? You're both developing a product that will help the SMBs, but then you have to do that at scale, almost in a B2C like manner, where obviously at the end you've reached hundreds of thousands. And so what is sort of the process that you led yourself and your co-founder to find this product market fit?
So you're right. Everything that we ever developed was always a complete SaaS, software as a service, always totally automatic. This is what enabled us to serve over 400,000 merchants from 186 countries around the world with a team of only 12 people. We always seek to have the minimal work on the merchant's end, like 1 to 3 clicks the most, because we don't expect the merchant to be doing the work. We want our system to be doing the work, and everything needs to be automated. If it has 1 click, for us, it's not set up. It needs to be 0 clicks on our end and the maximum of 3 clicks on the merchant's end.
What was the most challenging part to reach this phase? At the end, 0 clicks on your end, 3 clicks on their end. Obviously, had to go through many iterations. What was sort of the process like for you?
I guess the reaching out to those merchants. I mean, technically, our CTO Pasha could build a ship to the moon. He can do anything, but we always need to find a way to reach out to the merchants and explain to them what they are going to achieve by using our tools and why is that important for them. I think this was and still is the most challenging. We try to do it in many different aspects. On one end, from day one, Pasha generated email addresses for us to reach out through email marketing. From another end, always seek to do business development with companies that group together online merchants and can help us in reaching out to all of those merchants at once, either by displaying us in their marketing efforts or their app store or whatever.
Right. Now, so fast forward 10 years today, you've mentioned you've had quite a few iterations on the product. What is, if the vision before was to allow them to automatically extract those different items and create those stores and allow them to do better marketing, where is StoreYa today? What is sort of the core mission of this company?
So our flagship product is the Traffic Booster, which fully automates Google, Facebook, Instagram, and Bing advertising on behalf of those small to medium businesses. By fully automating, I mean that once the merchant submits his domain, geo-targeting preferences, and initial paid plan, our system would set up the accounts for him in Google and Facebook and optimize those accounts in real time and report back with the money that went out in each channel. The Traffic Booster covers all of Google and Facebook advertising channels. And the initial extraction of the feed of products that we built 10 years ago is still serving us in this product, because we extract the product and then we modify them to fit each and every advertising method of Google and Facebook.
Fantastic. Now, if you look at the last 10 years, and obviously you're living the online advertising space day in and day out, what has changed? What's different today than it was 10 years ago from your perspective?
Wow, everything. um, it's what I love about this world is that it is so dynamic. 10 years ago, like you had in Google, maybe only the search and things. Then you have dynamic search and you have shopping and smart shopping, and now the PMAX enter the world. It's a totally different ball game than it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Facebook was not that great of advertising platform for e-commerce SMBs, and nowadays it's a fantastic one, because they really did a great progress during those years in targeting the right potential customers for each merchant, if you know how to use their system correctly. So really a totally different ball game in my eyes.
So are you identifying that the biggest pain point in today's online advertising space is the ability to quickly and efficiently deploy these targeted advertisements through the abundant platforms? Is that the main pain point that small businesses have that you are solving with StoreYa?
Yeah, the main point is always how to acquire new potential customers. Previously we developed tools that enable the merchants to actually double and even triple their conversion rate of the store. And it wasn't enough, because the SMB main pain would always be how to get the next 1,000 or 10,000 new potential customers to his store. And yes, this is what we came up with. My partner, my CTO Pasha, tried to convince me for years that online advertising can be automated, and I kept telling him, listen, every time I optimize an account, it's something different, and I need to use my brain in order to do it. And he told me, no, you will find the pattern, and I will teach the system to run it automatically and in real time. And as always, he was right. It can be automated, and it should be automated, because this way you get better results, and also you are able to work with a larger number of merchants and with a larger number of products, because if you have stores with thousands or tens of thousands of products and you try to optimize them manually, you will not go very far. You will always be advertising the same products and not the entire scope of products.
Right. And so if you're looking at your own journey as an entrepreneur and, trying to reflect back on these 10 years, what were some of the most exciting moments for you on a personal level? Because really, I have the privilege here of speaking to somebody who's built a real business, over 10 years. It's not a traditional, B2B SaaS company that aims to exit after 2 or 3 years. Here, you've built a real business that is generating real revenue, generating real value for hundreds of thousands of small businesses. What was the most exciting, or a few of the most exciting pieces or stories from your own journey?
So what makes us tick is to really enable the SMBs to be using tools that normally only enterprise would be able to use, and to get a thank you letter from a seller saying, listen, you helped me fulfill my dream, and I have now the tuition to learn in an Ivy League school because I was able to make money due to your platform. That's an excitement. And to be able to split dividends back to our investors and to become a profitable company over the years, that's exciting. And to be able to go through large sales cycles of enterprises. Like 2 years ago, Google introduced us to PayPal. PayPal came to Google and asked to have integration with Google, and Google told them, listen, we already have a partner that did all of that. Just walk directly through StoreYa. And PayPal said, okay, we will check you out. And it took 2 years of long POC in which PayPal drove the merchants from their end and even provided the advertising budget in one condition, that the merchant would share the performance they had before using StoreYa and while using StoreYa. And so to overcome this 2 years of POC and to see your app in PayPal's recently launched App Store as the sole solution for advertising for all of the PayPal merchants, that's something that is very, very exciting. It's a roller coaster of 2 years, and this one had a happy ending.
Incredible. If you had to reflect back on the single most challenging moment you've had, whether it be personally with the company, professionally with the company, with the product, what is a moment that was really rough as an entrepreneur that you overcame?
I don't want to rank. there were quite a few over a period of 10 years. I guess fundraising was a tough experience. The climate was not as it today. It was, I think, much harder to raise funds for a startup 10 years ago. And it took much longer. After shaking hands, it took us 5 months, and then it took us 9 months. And to wait for 9 months, most startups would probably won't have the air to wait for it. But being a profitable startup, it actually helped us in those scenarios. So that's an excitement. Roller coaster of working with PayPal or Google or Facebook, which are, they are enterprises. They work differently than a startup. It's always a challenging to find the ways to work together, to collaborate. And we have been doing it for a few years with those companies. So I don't want to rank, but many challenges during 10 years.
I can only imagine. And I play a game with me, thinking a little bit ahead. On the online world is obviously changing and everything is becoming digital. And you have an influx of small businesses all around the world that are forced to move digital. And obviously that comes with it also their advertising campaigns and needs. How do you see the online advertising world changing, even in the next 2 or 3 years? What should we be expecting and what should we be focusing on right now?
Actually, we already played that game in March 2020 when the pandemic hit the world. For existing sellers of ours that were already selling online in April and May 2020 were like November. It was like Black Friday a day every day for 2 months. for brick and mortar stores that only switched to online during the pandemic, I believe we were the lifeboat, because they really need to have found the traffic that we were able to drive to their new stores. And this was their oxygen in those times. And as I see it, people that now became familiar with making their purchases online are likely to get used to it and to like it, and so the e-commerce world is only going to benefit and get stronger out of the other side of the pandemic.
I love it. Yariv, I really want to thank you. This was such an enjoyable conversation, getting to know you and getting to know StoreYa and the online advertising world, and hearing your perspective from 10 years ago to today, some of the points along the journey and how you see it. And obviously, the amazing impact that you've had on hundreds of thousands of businesses, helping them get to the right people and doing it with very, very little effort. So Yariv, thank you very much. Best of luck with the future of StoreYa as you continue pushing hard, as the world continuously changing, and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure.